cat stares at him all night. This one checks the hidden camera and finds out why. Every pet has its own habits. In this story, the cat used to stare at the father of the family at night. The man found this very strange and discovered the reason thanks to the hidden camera footage. Watch the video to find out why the cat was doing this. Daniel and his cat, Muffins. Daniel always knew Muffins was a weird cat. He adopted him when he was a kitten, and he already had his own habits like any other pet, but one of the weirdest was to stare at his owner all night long. When he finally figured out why the cat was doing this, he was really surprised. Muffins had been living in the house for 4 years and was very comfortable. Daniel's children loved him. They loved to cuddle him and often fell asleep with him. He had become a member of the family. But when the father discovered something strange about Muffins, he began to have doubts about the animal. It was a beautiful Friday afternoon, and Daniel was free that day. He went to the house to sort out some unfinished business and then returned. When he arrived, he saw Muffins walking around the yard. The animal had something in its mouth. It was a mouse. Daniel was relieved when he discovered it. It's normal for cats to catch mice, and it's very useful too. Almost all of them do it, and owners are usually happy about it. The man went on his way and was not worried about the cat. Days passed, and Daniel forgot that Muffins was catching mice. However, every night he had trouble breathing. Now, this was nothing new because he had suffered from asthma since he was a child. He would even wake up sometimes in the middle of a flare-up. For that reason, he made sure he always had an inhaler within reach. He had already seen many doctors and specialists, but none of them could really help him. He had to learn to live with this condition, and it was not easy. As a child, for example, he could not participate in tournaments. He was not allowed to do too much physical activity, and always had to watch his breathing. Of course, when Daniel grew up, he couldn't smoke either. In addition, he had to make sure that he did not do it passively, although this was no easy task. However, since he brought Muffins home, his breathing problems had worsened. Once, he woke up early in the morning because he was choking. His wife was still asleep, so he got up himself to get a glass of water. As he was about to leave the room, he saw Muffins sitting in a chair looking at him strangely. Daniel still went to the kitchen and thought no more about the strange event. The next day, he had even forgotten about the animal's unusual attitude. But he would soon remember it when he woke up another morning and saw the same strange scene. Muffins was staring at him again. He was perched on the chair watching him without moving. Why was the cat acting so unusually? The feline was following with its eyes every move he made. So he decided to approach him and pet him as well. He asked him what he was doing up so early. Muffins' behavior was starting to become disturbing, and Daniel wanted to know more about it. The next morning, as the man ate breakfast and Muffins was in his daughter's arms watching television, he had a strange feeling in his stomach. He thought about those last few days and still didn't understand the pet's erratic attitude. This had already become a habit, and Daniel did not feel comfortable at all, nor did he like the idea of the strange cat being so close to his children. In the midst of so many doubts, he suddenly had an idea. He jumped out of his chair, grabbed his car keys and wallet, and said bye to his family and went out. He went straight to a store. The family man decided to buy a camera with night vision. It was exactly what he needed to get answers. When he got home, he started working on it. He carefully placed the camera behind a book, and already wanted to know what it would look like. When it was finally time for bed, he put the girls to bed and then went to his own room. On his way to his bedroom, he saw Muffins in the hallway. The cat looked back at Daniel with his green eyes and stood there, as if waiting for a particular moment. However, if that moment were to come again, the man would have everything documented. The next day, he didn't worry too much about it. He knew the camera would provide answers. He kissed his wife and quickly fell asleep. When he woke up hours later, he immediately thought about the hidden camera. He wanted to know what it had recorded, and feared the worst. Would he have to kick Muffins out of the house? He also felt a lot of tension about the possible response from the whole family. He loved this feline, and it would be very bad if he turned out to be dangerous. After saying goodbye to his daughters, who were going to soccer practice, he ran to the bedroom and grabbed the device. Meanwhile, Muffins kept looking at Daniel, but all he could think about was the recording. Then, he carefully closed the bedroom door and pulled out the memory card. He inserted it into his computer and opened the folder containing the video. Daniel was very excited and at the same time worried. He was really hoping to find out something because he felt very uncomfortable. He would know once and for all what his cat was doing at night. During the first few hours of filming, there was nothing special to see. The couple was seen sleeping and moving from time to find the most comfortable position. He then started to fast forward the video, when suddenly he finally appeared on the screen. He was amazed by his posture. The animal stood on the edge of the bed. Daniel was desperate to know what would happen. He was now very close to the truth, and he wanted to get it. The images showed Muffins slowly walking towards Daniel, and then climbing on top of him while he was deeply asleep. The man could not imagine the animal doing such a thing. Meanwhile, Muffins was getting closer and closer to Daniel's face. What did this cat want with him? After getting closer and closer to Daniel's face, he sat comfortably on his nose and mouth and then stretched out completely. The man couldn't believe his eyes, and suddenly understood everything. That's why he choked at night and sometimes woke up coughing. The cat would lie on his face. Daniel was actually relieved that that was the reason. He paused the video and stood up. At that moment, Muffins snuck into the room, and Daniel looked at him and smiled. He was no longer worried. And the next morning over breakfast, he told his wife about the recording and the sleepless nights. She was also shocked because she never would have expected that from her dear, innocent kitty. However, she was very happy that Daniel finally had some answers and that it wasn't as bad as he thought. Muffins was a funny cat, and she wanted to make it right. He had no desire to hurt his owner. He just wanted to be as close to him as possible. The wife told him that this was a way for animals to show love, and he agreed with her. His worries were over, and he felt serene again. But if the outcome had been different, what would he have done? He really didn't want to think too much about it and was happy that his cat wasn't an evil animal. He was just looking for some warmth and love from his family. After telling the story to his wife, he sat down to read the morning paper when he suddenly felt a scratch on his skin. Without looking, he knew who it was. He turned around and saw no one but little Muffins. Muffins looked at him, and Daniel knew exactly what it meant. He put his newspaper aside, walked over to the cat, and picked it up in his arms. Then, he laid it on his chest as he pet it. Muffins lay quietly and watched his owner. He began to purr, and Daniel understood absolutely everything. The cat was in his favorite place, the place where he secretly curled up every night, unconsciously causing his owner insomnia. We can see that animals, in their own way, make sure they have everything they need, even without being able to speak. Whether it's food, drink, or love, they always know how to get it. What do you think of this story? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.